Welcome, and greetings to all. I am Shen Longpen Dragon, the Lore Master. As always, a quick disclaimer, I don't own any of the images or the story in this video. The credit for these all belong to their original sources. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say a big thank you to all key workers that are continuing to work hard in spite and in light of the current situation. And wherever you are in the world, I really do hope that you, your friends, family, colleagues, etc., are all doing okay. So, as with last time, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask for a moment of silence for those who have sadly lost their lives to the ongoing pandemic. So I would request that you join me in that, hopefully you will, and let us start that now. Thank you. Moving on to a happier note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be doing the second part of the Legends of China series, and today's video is going to be the Legend of NuWa, the Guardian of Heaven. This is one of my favourite Chinese stories, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Without further ado, let us continue. Strong, fierce, independent and loving. NuWa is the very image and epitome of what it means to be a mother. But to truly understand her story, we must go back to the very beginning of creation. Within the celestial chamber, upon his throne, sits the Jade Emperor, ruler of heaven and earth. Yet, an emperor cannot be in two places at once, and the Jade Emperor cannot leave his palace, else he will not be able to govern over all the many duties that heaven requires him. And so, he entrusts Earth to his mortal counterpart, the human emperor of China. Yet, how did humans come into being? For surely they did not just simply appear out of holes in the ground. That is where our hero of the story, the goddess NuWa, comes in. In the beginning, NuWa lived upon the peaks of Kunlun, a great mountain, with her kinsman Fuxi. Their existence was peaceful, if a blighted one, for the two deities were deeply in love with one another, yet they were unable to be together as man and wife, for nothing had blessed their union. Together they said a prayer, hoping that their love would be allowed to bloom. O heaven, if thou wouldst send us forth as man and wife, then make all this misty vapour gather. If not, then make all the misty vapour disperse. And with the gathering of the mist, heaven blessed their union, allowing the two to be finally united as man and wife. But as deities, the two of them had duties, and these duties would often take them far apart for long periods of time. One day, while on her own, NuWa suddenly grew very, very lonely. She had not seen her husband for some time, and tears slowly trickled down her cheeks, falling to the earth below. Her tears from the waters of a great river that snaked across the land, wetting the clay around her. NuWa, busy with her duties so far, decided to take a little break. She was lonely and thus decided to do something about it. With the wet clay in hand, she started to form the shapes of people. More and more people she crafted by hand, working the clay as finely as any sculptor. But as time passed, she grew tired. She was unable to create as many fine works, and so more and more of her creations became cruder, less ornate, and more plain. The divinity of her tears gave life to her creations. Like children, they gathered to her. "Mother! Mother!" they exclaimed. NuWa was delighted, for she was no longer alone and now surrounded by her children. Those she had worked by hand so finely became the nobility and rulers of their kind, with those more crude becoming the peasantry and other working classes. Delighted with her creation, NuWa named them humans. Yet, as with many stories, this one has a tragedy. Heaven was supported by 4 great pillars that kept the divine realm high above the mortal realms. Safe and secure in their knowledge that heaven would not fall, the gods had grown arrogant and careless. A great disaster struck, causing the 4 pillars to shatter. This terrifying calamity tore open the sky, and heaven fell around earth, unable to be contained and unable to cover the full circumference of the land below. With heaven falling asunder, calamity after calamity struck the earth. Great floods washed over the land in endless torrents. Fires, great flames as high as mountains, raged with impunity, burning their way across the land like great ravenous snakes. Where the waters and fires did not reach, great ferocious beasts prowled the land, their endless quest for food driving them on in an endless hunger for blood. They slaughtered both innocent and evil indiscriminately, and soon humanity became washed in blood and gore. From the sky, great, terrifying bird-like creatures descended, snatching up the young, the elderly, and the weak. In the chaos, humanity prayed and begged for salvation, hoping that the deities would come and send them a champion. And one heard their call. Enraged, the great serpent lifted her head. How dare this happen? How dare fate set out to destroy her children? NuWa would not tolerate it. She would not stand for it. This was her domain, her world, and her children's suffering. They needed their mother, and their mother would rise against the chaos. NuWa vowed that she would not rest until this chaos had ended and her children were safe. She alone would stand against the tide of evil and right the wrong. She alone would save heaven and earth. NuWa began her great quest, her gambit to save her children and put an end to the chaos. Firstly, she gathered 5 mythical brightly colored stones representing the elements of wood, fire, earth, water, and metal. What 5 individual stones could not do, she reasoned that one great stone might. With all her divinity and power, NuWa smelted the 5 stones into a single great entity that she would use to repair the sky. Next, she sought out the great turtle of the southern sea. Raising him up from the depths, she cut off his 4 limbs. Rather than killing the great beast, she allowed him to descend back beneath the waves, where he rests now, holding up the 3 islands of the 8 immortals. Now ready, NuWa began her first great act of deliverance in her gambit. She set up the 4 severed limbs of the turtle, replacing and repairing the pillars to support heaven above the earth. The divine realm stopped shaking and falling. It stayed suspended as it should have always been above the earth, and so the first calamity was over. But there was still the matter of the great tear in the sky. How could anything, even this stone, fix it? But NuWa was determined. Uncoiling herself, the great mother serpent rose into the air. Higher and higher she spiraled, determination and drive pushing her on. Her children needed her, and nothing would stop her. At last, NuWa reached the tear, and with the great stone she thrust it into the gap, and with all her divine might and power she sealed the rift. And so heaven and earth were truly once again separated. The second calamity was over. But NuWa's work was not yet complete, for in G Province, humanity still suffered terribly. A great, terrifying, evil black dragon had taken up residence. Like a tyrant, he had made G Province his own domain, demanding tribute in rice, gold, and meat. The dragon unfairly stole anything that the villagers of the province refused or could not afford to give. NuWa would not stand for such a tyrant to make light of her children. Enough was enough. Arming herself for battle, NuWa travelled to G Province and challenged this great black dragon. After a fierce battle, she slew the beast. But not all was yet well. While the dragon lay dead and the people were freed from the tyrant, the flames and waters continued to rage across the land, and there was still the matter of the other beasts and great birds. Now free from her other duties, NuWa gathered up bundles and bundles of reeds and cinders. Piling them, she created massive barricades, preventing the beasts from entering the villages and killing the people. The waters and flames broke against the barricades, but again and again she piled them higher and higher, preventing their unending assault. With the barricades now in place, even the birds themselves could not fly over to strike at her children, and thus returned to their roosts, disappointed. After a time, the fires and waters finally rescinded, and the beasts returned to their lairs. And thus the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth calamities were finally over. It was done. The chaos was finally over. NuWa had done it. She alone has stood against the chaos and defended her children, her realm. Because of her bravery and her actions, the Jade Emperor bestowed upon her the title of Guardian of Heaven. And thus, NuWa was finally allowed to rest, knowing peacefully that tranquility once again graced the Middle Kingdom and its divine realm above. All was well. And to this day, NuWa's children gather at her sacred places and statues, worshipping their mother, grateful for averting the disaster that almost annihilated them all those years ago. But where is the goddess now? Has the Great Mother returned to the divine realm in heaven? Or does she yet walk among us on earth? No one knows this answer. But what we do know is that should such a disaster ever strike us again, the Great Mother will once again lift her head and defend her children, as is her motherly duty. For she is the guardian of heaven, and we all her children. And nothing is stronger than a mother's love, devotion, and desire to defend her children. And thus ends the legend of NuWa, the guardian of heaven. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then please remember to like and subscribe for more lore, myths, legends, and stories. If you have any requests or stories you would like me to do, please leave those in the comment section below. Again, if you've also heard a different variant of this story, please leave that in the comment section below, because I would love to hear it. I hope, once again, wherever you are, you, your friends, family, colleagues, etc. are all doing well, staying safe and staying healthy. I can tell you that the next video that I will be doing will be the Stone of Destiny, so another Scottish story. I do hope that you like the sound of that, and if it appeals, which I hope it does, then I hope you'll join me for that. I can't say when I'll get that out to you, but I will do my best to make it soon. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to sign off now, and I hope that all of you stay safe and stay strong. I am Shenlong Pendragon, and until next time, knowledge is power.